It's time for
DodgerHeads.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into DodgerHeads Live, presented by DodgerBlue.com, part of the Medium Large Sports Network. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined tonight by our Thursday night co-host, guest, Greg Bergman of ESPN, a.k.a. Corporate Greg. Greg, happy Thursday to you, sir.
Happy Thursday to you. And if my face is really, really bright red, it's because I had to sprint home, take a quick shower, and now I am just sitting down for the first time in about, we've been talking for about 2 minutes before we're going. So, yeah, it's great.
You've got a harsh guy over here that's on tight deadlines. You know, I know Greg's a hardworking guy over there, but we got things to do and places to be.
You see this stuff? I'm tired.
I like to see. So it's a hardworking guy on the radio and off the radio. We appreciate that you're here. Shout out to everybody joining us live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. It is good to have you. I do want to check in real quick, Greg. Tough loss for the Lakers last night. Are we okay over there?
Man, I just spent 3 hours on the radio talking about the Lakers. Is this where we're starting? We're going to start with the Lakers?
They put us out of our misery, at least. Like, they didn't drag this out.
Look, I mean, there's two ways to think about it, right? Like, if you know they're going to lose, would you prefer they lose early or after Game 7 and get your hopes up? I kind of prefer the Game 7 and just enjoy the games. But, yeah, it was tough, man. Like, if they were going to win a game, last night was the game that they were going to win. Anthony Edwards couldn't hit a shot, and nobody besides Rudy Gobert could hit a shot on the Timberwolves, and they still lost that game. It was a very frustrating game.
Well, that's the good news for every Lakers fan. The Dodgers are maybe the best team in Major League Baseball right now, and they're the favorites to win the World Series. And you know, you've got a few months ahead of you of good sports to watch. Yeah,
but the crazy thing is, since Friday, only the Dodgers have won in Los Angeles. Sure. The Dodgers have won 5 out of 6. They lost on Friday, but the Kings, the Lakers, the Clippers, LAFC tied. Everybody lost. The Kings are playing right now. I don't know what the score is, but the Kings are playing right now. If they lose this, they're knocked out, losing to Edmonton 4 times in a row. It's a very tough time in LA, except if you're a Dodger fan.
Yeah, just put all your eggs in the Dodgers basket, folks, and the lowest level of disappointment, you know? Yep. We got a ton to get to tonight. We're going to talk Freddie Freeman. We're going to talk Michael Conforto. We're going to talk to Max Muncy. We're going to talk about a couple relief pitchers that were recently acquired. Clayton Kershaw update the pitching plan for Yamamoto and Sasaki, among other things, maybe a little Braves series preview. But if you're on Twitter, if you're on social media, we have to start in one place and one place alone, and that is our own Greg Bergman's Twitter account. Because on X, Greg, if that's what we're calling it, you caused a bit of an uproar just a couple of days ago with this tweet. Who do you think is better, the Marlins or the OKC Comets? This is the Dodgers AAA team. 51.5% said they think the Comets are better. 38 said the Marlins, and 10.5 said push. You've got people in your mentions now, it seems like.
People actually said to me, like, that is so disrespectful. That is a major league team. They are real ball players. They're in Miami, and they're not the Florida Marlins, like I said the first time. And this, to me, I don't think it's that crazy of a take. I mean, I didn't even take it was a poll. You guys choose what you want. I'm asking questions. You got to answer them. But at the same time, like, think about it realistically. All of those guys that are in AAA are being blocked by all of the $20 million players that are on the Dodgers, and $20 million sometimes on the low end. They're blocked. So there's guys like Alex Freeland and Cody Hoysie and, you know, even Estuary Ruiz. And there's just a ton of dudes that are down there. I'm missing a couple, but there's a ton of dudes that are down there that are being blocked from actually playing in the major leagues. And those players that are down there, James Outman, would probably start on the Marlins or make the team. Am I wrong in saying that?
No, well, first of all, I'm glad you mentioned Outman. One of my beefs was going to be you sent out a tweet with like 12 guys on the OKC roster. Outman wasn't on there. I was like, geez Louise, this guy's catching strays even when Greg's trying to be nice.
I was like thinking about all the dudes that were down there and just typing out. I put Chris Oakey in there.
But Chris Oakey made the list. I was like, geez Louise, we're digging for Chris Oakey. I mean, I'm with you at Sung Kim, Dalton Rushing, Fiducia, Freeland, Estuary Reese. I'm like, I'm with you. And then it's like, I mean, Chris Oakey? Like, come on. That's where you lost me.
I mean, I was just thinking about all the dudes that were down there, and I just totally forgot James Outman. And James Outman, by the way, right now is batting like 400 over the last week. So
some people are saying.
He's going a little bit nuts right now. But is that crazy of a talk to say that team down in OKC could probably keep up in a 3-game series?
Yeah.
How many games does OKC win? Because it's at least one.
I mean, so I texted my cousin is a Marlins fan, and the first game I texted him a screenshot of the lineup, and it was just like from the score, and so you just got first initial last name, and I was like, be honest and tell me how many of these guys you've heard of. Now he's a fan, so he's heard of them. Like, I'm a fantasy baseball player in a really serious league with big rosters, and so I know a lot of dudes around Major League Baseball, and I looked with Xavier Edwards, good player at shortstop. He was on my fantasy squad last year. I've learned about, I think it's Agustin Ramirez, who's like a catching prospect off to a good start. D. Myers, not familiar. Wagaman, not familiar. Connor Norby, I think I've heard of him. O. Lopez, Jesus Sanchez, heard of him. R. Simon, and J. Sanoja. So these are a lot of guys I haven't heard of. And I think your point about the Dodgers AAA team probably from a major league perspective having a bunch of talent is fair. So are you landing on? So you said you think OKC wins at least 1 out of 3.
I think 1 out of 3, and I think they win 2 out of 3, just depending on who's pitching for the Marlins. Like the guy the other night pitching for the Marlins, pretty good. Like he's yeah, that's fine. They have people. Sammy Alcantara is getting smacked around, so that's their best pitcher. Sucks. Yeah, exactly. And so all of these guys, I just think that do it this way. Take everybody on the Marlins and now say, would they start on the OKC Dodgers or the OKC Comets? I think a couple of those guys you talked about would, but I also think a bunch of the guys in the OKC Comets would start on the Marlins. And the Wagaman guy that you were talking about, Parker Bell, who's on the Blue Review with me on the ESPN LA channel that you're going to be on tomorrow morning, 8:30 to 8:55 on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. Ding. Parker Bell says that he couldn't even make the Angels. So what are we talking about?
To your point, they've got some players who are legit, like Xavier Edwards I mentioned is really good. But if you're talking OKC, I mean, Dalton Rushing is probably starting for the Marlins. Not probably, definitely.
He is.
Fiducia is definitely starting at some point. Maybe it's a DH or, they'd find a way to get him in the lineup. I think James Outman is starting in that group. Alex Freeland is probably competing for a spot. I mean, you didn't even mention they've got some former major leaguers like David Bodie, Michael Chavis are both guys who have played in the major leagues before. And then pitching wise, they could throw Knack, Bobby Miller, and Justin Robleski, which I'm not saying those guys are superstars at major league level, but Landon Knack's probably better than any guy we saw the Marlins throw out there in that last one. So I think I'm not going to say you're fully onto something, but you might be onto something here.
Yeah, and Ryan Ward just had a walk-off inside the park home run just yesterday, I think. So there's a lot of dudes that are on there that are going to play for the Marlins. And what's happening in Major League Baseball, I know we are going to get to all the Dodger stuff. This is a problem, what's happening right now. There are 3 teams specifically that are just not fielding competent teams, and it's just, I think, bad for baseball. The Rockies have 5 wins.
They're trying. That's the saddest part is that I think the Rockies are actually trying.
Do you really think they're trying with 5 wins?
I think they are. They signed Chris Bryant a couple of years ago. Like, they actually spend money on these guys. That's the saddest part.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Rockies, you can say they're trying. I'm going to say they're not trying. And then they're obviously the Marlins, they're not trying. And the White Sox, I don't think they're trying either. They're trying to build pieces, young pieces to try and build a team, but that's going to take a few years. I can see that maybe they're trying to do what Houston did at one point, but those 3 teams are they're going to win like 25 games, 30 games. Oh, they're on pace for it, and that's bad for baseball.
Chris Bryant signed a 7-year, $182 million contract that expires at the end of 2028. They've got Ryan McMahon making $12 to $16 million a year over the next 3 years. They've got Kyle Freeland, a couple $16 million a year packages, and then they got Antonio Senzatella, who signed a 5-year, $50 million contract as well. So they're spending. I mean, that's the pathetic thing about the Rockies.
Oh, this is the Chris Bryant one that really, really hurts. Remember when he was such a big guy? Yeah. Like the Cubs actually held off bringing him up so they would get more time with him. And then now he's just an overpaid athlete that's in Colorado doing absolutely nothing. Is he playing right now?
Chris Bryant is a great question. If he is playing, it's forgettable.
Yeah,
he's hitting 154 in 39 at bats this year. Chris Bryant is.
That is just awful. Hey, but I think it might be better than Michael Conforto. We'll get to that later.
This is insane. In the last 3 years, now I'm on Baseball Reference. Usually I'm a Fangraphs guy. 23, 24, and 25. He's played 80 games, 37 games, and then 11 games this year. Ugh. He has been a negative WAR player all 3 seasons.
Oh, that is just
-1, -0.7, and -0.5 the last 3 years on Baseball Reference.
It sounds like Anthony Rendon type stuff.
So he put up 0.7 wins above replacement his first year in Colorado, and he has been a net negative player, and they still have this year and 3 more of $27 million a year.
Yeah, nobody's taking that contract ever. You're just eating that. Unless you can move him if you eat it, or you just, I guess, DFA and eat the money that way.
And he's 33. So,
now way past his prime. Yeah.
Heading out the wrong way. So, all right. So we feel good about the tweet, though. You're with the 51% that say OKC better than the Marlins.
Maybe it's because I'm a Dodger fan and I know these guys in the minor league system, and I've heard about them and talked to them for so long that I feel that way. But I truly believe that all of those guys are being blocked by the current Dodgers, and they would, if you just let them come up and play, they would be competent. The Dodgers wouldn't be good, but if you took that team, it'd probably be one of the better teams in baseball. Like it'd probably like mid-tier.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, the Dodgers have one of, if not the best farm system in all of Major League Baseball. Plus you can add the Ha-Seong Kim, Esteury Ruiz, like Ryan Ward, David Bodie types who are not prospects, but are, quad A to major league level players as well mixed in. And some of their top prospects on the pitching and hitting side are at the AAA level as well. So combine all that. I don't think it's as crazy as I'm sure a lot of Marlins fans felt like it sounded.
But those were Dodger fans that were getting upset with me, saying that was just the baseball gods and they're a Major League Baseball team. How dare you say
it? Well, the Dodgers won 5 games in a row. So these folks needed something to be upset about, Greg. So I'm grateful that you gave it to them.
Fair. I didn't think it was that crazy of a take, to be honest with you.
LLM on the super chat. We appreciate you. Why are we picking up relievers that aren't good when David Robertson is available? The bullpen needs more high leverage arms. Bonda is this year's Yenty. Kasperius might start. Garcia is no good. The reference here is to a pair of relief pitchers that the Dodgers added today. Old friend JP Feyereisen is back with the Dodgers. He was acquired from Tampa Bay after the 2022 season. He missed all of 2023. They knew that, and they were hoping to have him produce in 2024. Unfortunately, he was terrible. He pitched at the AAA level and Major League level, was bad in both places, got picked up by Arizona, made a couple appearances for them, and then was DFA'd. So the Dodgers claimed him off of waivers, and then they traded for Ryan Loutus, 26-year-old. He was acquired for cash considerations. I know you're a big Ryan Loutus fan, so I'll let you chime in here in a second, Greg. But 3 appearances last year for the Cardinals. No runs allowed, also had no strikeouts. This year made 8 appearances at the AAA level. He was an undrafted free agent back in 2021. Trinan and Kopech shifted to the 60-day IL to make room for these 2 guys. This feels just kind of like a churn and burn situation, a couple arms, Greg, that the Dodgers will potentially call up at some point. They're probably going to have at least one bullpen game in the next couple of weeks, bring them up, let them eat some innings, and then send them packing again.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I don't think these guys are coming up to be actual long-term major league relievers. Blake Trinan, which is sad, is going on the 60-day IL, and Michael Kopech went on the 60-day IL. So all you have to bring other guys on. So, and I've been following Ryan Loutus his entire career. When he was at Oaks Christian, I used to go to his games out there in Westlake, and he throws a really nice 2-seam fastball. He offsets it with the curve, and I think he's been playing around with the splitter a little bit. The really important pitch that a lot of guys are throwing. So, he's going to really show something, and I don't know what I just said.
For a second, I thought you were serious. Oaks Christian was my rival growing up, and I was like, this guy's from Oaks Christian. Bickford was an Oaks Christian guy. None of what Greg just said is true, by the way. If anybody was wondering, I was like, really? No, he's from Illinois, so he's not from California. Washington University, St. Louis. The best thing is there's not a chance anybody in the chat knew you were lying. They were like, all right, I guess Greg is a really big Ryan Loutus guy.
I'm a big Ryan Loutus guy. I would have thought it was Loutus. So
I see some people in the chat saying he was like a computer scientist who then became a pitcher. So there you go. There you go. I don't think he will be with the team long. I will say Luis Garcia, not terrible. Like he's been okay.
I don't have a problem with Luis Garcia at all right now. At the beginning, he was just god awful, and I was watching him like, dude, he's not going to be around very long. This is a guy that's just going to come up, pitch a game or two, and he'll be done. But he's actually shown something. He gets guys out. He gets strikeouts. I mean, maybe he'll get somebody on base every once in a while, but I think you look at what his past couple outings, I don't think he's given up a run in a few games, to be honest.
Yeah. No, we had him, I think on Sunday, we talked about him as kind of like almost like a stock up guy. I'll see if I can find the note, because to your point, he had actually been good of late. I'd have to find the note, but Luis Garcia, here he goes. It was 6 straight scoreless innings.
Yeah.
6 straight scoreless appearances, by the way. This was back on the 27th. And I think he had another scoreless appearance since then. So 2 hits, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts over 5 1/3 in that stretch. So
I'm totally fine with what is going on from him. I know his numbers, the ERA doesn't look good, but that was all very, very early.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. If Luis Garcia doesn't survive the entire season, I won't be surprised, but he's got a 4.2 ERA, but yeah, the last time he gave up a run was April 12th. So 7 appearances since then, just 2 hits allowed, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts.
Yeah, totally take that any day of the week.
Jedi Engineer asking about the other pitcher that was making news. Kenta Maeda, DFA'd by the Tigers. He says, Jedi Engineer says, don't think we could, quote, fix whatever is wrong there. When I saw the headline, I was like, sign me up for Kenta Maeda. I'll be honest. Then I Googled his numbers from the last 2 seasons, and it's not, I think it starts with a 6, a 7, or an 8 the last couple of years. So it's been ugly for our guy Kenta, but for vibes reasons, I'm in. For baseball reasons, I'm out.
Right, exactly. I mean, he's also 37 years old and hasn't been that guy that we loved in Kenta Maeda for quite some time. I mean, maybe they could kind of fix him, but it just doesn't seem – it seems like his time is just kind of over at this point, Unfortunately, love what he did for the Dodgers and where we used to love watching him pitch, but yeah, it's about time.
7.88 ERA this season in 8 innings, 6.09 ERA in 112 innings last year. It's really, really bad. So with all due respect, Mr. Maeda, I think this is probably the end of the road. At least it won't be coming with the Dodgers. So thank you for the super chat, Spoke. What's that?
The Marlins might want them.
There you go. Maybe the OKC Comets could use Kenta as a reliever. We'll see. I want to talk about one other thing on social media before we play a game that you and I have played and enjoyed last time. I want to talk about Freddie Freeman. And I want to ask the question of why Freddie Freeman is so underappreciated. There was an account that tweeted out a list of the top 10 2025 first basemen. This is from Joel Reuter of Bleacher Report. Top 10 first basemen of 2025. We're not talking career. We're not talking like for the next 10 years. We're talking right now, top 10 first basemen in Major League Baseball. I'm going to read you the list, Greg. Pete Alonso, 1. Tyler Soderstrom, 2. Spencer Torkelson, Jonathan Aranda, Michael Busch, shout out Michael Busch, Paul Goldschmidt, Josh Naylor, Bryce Harper, Matt Olson, and Vlad Guerrero Jr. Nowhere on that list was a gentleman by the name of Freddie Freeman, who, in case you were wondering, is currently 6th in all of Major League Baseball in weighted runs created plus. 6th in all baseball, not first baseman. Every player, every position, American League, National League, he is 6th. He's one of only 7 guys who has a 400 OBP and a 600 slug. Help me understand it, Greg. Why does nobody give this guy the respect he deserves?
It's because he is just steady. He'll hit you a couple of home runs, but he also just hits a lot of doubles. He's great defensively, and whenever you need a single, he's there for you. He comes up with a big hit when you need him. But I just don't understand it, because did they forget what he did in the World Series just last year? I know that this is for this year, and he started off the year on the IL, right? Like how long did he miss? A couple weeks?
Yeah. So the only thing I can think of is if they were like only going by guys who quote unquote qualified, because Freddie Freeman's at 80 plate appearances, which is lower than Aaron Judge's at 140 for context. So that's the one out I might give them, but nowhere was that caveat placed anywhere on this list.
No, it was not. And it's just a somebody that hates what the Dodgers are doing, hates the fact that the Dodgers are having an over $1 billion payroll, and just said, we're not going to put him in there because it's just nonsense. There's no way in baseball. Those guys, the Arandas, look, I love Michael Busch. I think he's a very good player, especially for the Chicago Cubs. But any day of the week, give me Freddie Freeman over at least 5 of those guys. And by the way, Paul Goldschmidt, he's having a good year in New York with that teeny tiny short porch, but he was kind of awful last year. So in a Yankee uniform might be different, but also guys early on tend to hit more, and especially in that ballpark. Again, almost every single one of those guys, I'm taking Freddie Freeman and his steadiness all day long.
Yeah, he's hitting 319, 407 on base, 638 slugging percentage. He's second on the Dodgers in on base, just trailing Will Smith. He's first in slugging, ahead of Teoscar, ahead of Ohtani, ahead of all these other guys. His slugging percentage right now, Greg, would be the highest mark he's had since 2020. And nobody's talking about him. It's 5 home runs. It's a handful of doubles. But as much as I poke fun at this list and national guys, who knows what the reasoning was. Even we talked about it on this show. It might have been last week, but nobody's talking about, even among Dodgers fans, I felt like it was going under the radar how good of a season he was having, because at the time he was second in on base and second in slugging. And I said, who do you think this is? And it's like, was it Ohtani? Is it Teoscar? And it's like, no, it's Freddie Freeman. He's absolutely killing the baseball. So I think you're right. It's so consistent. It's so quiet. Somebody in the chat saying it's more doubles than it is home runs type of stuff. It's not sexy. It's not flashy. And yet the results every single year, Greg, are like MVP caliber.
Yeah, every single time. He's always going to be there if he's healthy for the rest of the year. And by the way, let's not forget that he still has a bum ankle.
100%.
He's playing on a bum ankle, and he's still getting doubles, and he's still, sliding into bases. There's a lot of things that he's doing very, very well. Freddie, it's almost nonsense that he's not on that list.
Yeah, and just at the very least, I think I'm like, let's appreciate Freddie Freeman. Let's take a couple minutes on this show to say he's having an unbelievable season. We spend a lot of time focusing on why is Mookie Betts not performing better? Where's Max Muncy, Conforto, guys we're going to talk about here in a second. Sometimes I want this show to be about pausing and saying, who's freaking awesome right now is Freddie Freeman. And maybe Will Smith next time deserves that because he's been awesome sort of quietly as well. But it's just, he's a 183 weighted runs created plus. Again, 300, 400, 600 is the slash line. And to your point, he's not even healthy. He's playing on a bum ankle and he's missed some time.
Right. No matter what, in Dodger lore, he's going to get a statue. It's going to be of him raising his bat in the air, and it's going to be amazing. So whoever Joel Reuter is, fine. Feel how you want to feel. You're wrong, and just fully wrong. If you gave that to somebody, a respected baseball guy like Jeff Passan or Buster Olney, they would laugh in Joel Reuter's face.
Yeah. Pete Alonso's off to a great year. Pete Alonso's one of the guys with the higher weighted runs created plus, and he's obviously played a bunch more games. So if you want to put Freddie Freeman on this list, he can't be. I mean, third would be the absolute floor to me, and I think I'd have a hard time being convinced he's not second. There is one other first baseman, randomly enough, that's higher than he is in weighted runs created plus, Pavin Smith, who's also not even on the top 10. And if we're talking 2025, what are we doing? So shout out to Freddie Freeman. Keep being awesome.
Get Joel Reuter out of here. I'm done with
Okay, we're gonna play our favorite game. And again, I stole this. I'm gonna give this preface every time. I stole this from a fantasy football podcast from The Ringer, and it's called the coin flip game. And basically, they bring up a player. They had been doing it with NFL draft prospects. We're gonna do it with Dodgers players, and I'm gonna flip a coin. And if it lands on one side, then Greg has to argue for this player. Tell me why I shouldn't be panicked or why this player is going to turn it around. And if it lands on the other side, then he has to argue against this player and tell me why this player stinks and it's time to sell your stock. And the best part is we have no idea which side of either argument we're going to be making. So we've got to prepare our for arguments and our against. And we're going to do 3 players. We're going to do Michael Conforto, which shout out to whoever gets to do the plus side of Michael Conforto. That's going to be an uphill battle in the chat. I can tell you that. Max Muncy, who's got 1 good game in his belt. Is he back? Question for the day. And then Tyler Glasnow, who between he and Conforto, I'm not sure there's many people that are on the plus side of either of those 2 guys right now. But let's start with Michael Conforto playing the coin flip game.
Do we want to say real fast before you do the coin flip? Do we want to say how we actually feel about these people really fast before we get into it, and then whatever it turns into?
I'll give you this opportunity without giving me your full argument, because we'll have some time for that. Conforto's first. Conforto's first. Tell me, heads is you've got to argue for Conforto. Tails, you've got to argue against Conforto. What are you hoping this lands on?
I am hoping that I'm arguing against Michael Conforto because on the Blue Review, he is my villain of the Dodgers.
He's your villain. All right, we got a nice Eisenhower 50-cent piece. This no quarters and nickels over here. All right, we're doing the good stuff. Heads, you're arguing in favor of Conforto. Tails, you're arguing against him. I will take the other side. We flip the coin, and Greg Bergman, I have good news for you. It's heads. You get to argue in favor of your villain. Make the case to me that Michael Conforto, it's going to be okay, Greg, that all the people panicking, all the people frustrated, let's just take a deep breath.
All right.
And we're in on Conforto. Make the case.
Okay. Make the case for Michael Conforto.
Yeah.
This is
super easy.
It's super easy for you. You know all the different stats and all the behind the numbers type stuff. So I'm going to say it this way. It's still very, very early for Michael Conforto. When they signed him, they knew what it was going to be like. They knew that when there are certain ballparks that he hits well in and certain that he doesn't, and he just has to find his swing. I think it's going to turn itself around at some point. So Michael Conforto does a few things well. He walks a lot, so that's going to help his on-base percentage. It's going to help bring him. And if you bring him down in the lineup where they have him at the eighth spot, that seems to be a better spot for him because all he has to do is be on base. So if he's gonna be on base and just walk, that's almost as good as a single or just as good as a single at that point. Everything else will start to come. He's going to start if he has opportunities, getting the singles, bringing in runs. Those 5 RBIs that he has right now that he's had since probably about April 7th, that number's going to go up.
Go up.
It can only go up. And I saw someone in the chat that had a great line. He hasn't hit into a triple play yet. He's hits into a lot of double plays, and he grounds out a lot, but there's been no triple plays. So that's a positive for Michael Conforto. Again, it's all going to come together. I know he's trying the torpedo bat, but eventually he's going to just say, forget the torpedo bat. Let me do my whole swing, calm down, and he'll be just fine. Those 5 RBIs will go up to 10 by the end of the year.
I like it. I'm sold. That came from the heart, and I appreciate that, Greg. The case against Michael Conforto, and it's not great. If you look at his Baseball Savant page, which is nerd numbers, blue is bad, red is good. There's a lot of not just blue, dark blue on his page. Aside from his chase rate, his bat speed, and his walk rate, he is in the bottom 40% of every other category that they've got on there. There's like 10 other ones. Bottom 40% in all of them. He's 7th percentile in expected batting average, 15th percentile in expected slugging percentage. And in case you're wondering, he's also bad in the field and one of the slowest runners in Major League Baseball also. So aside from not being a great hitter right now, surface level stats or nerd stats, not being a good fielder and not being a runner, I think you make some compelling points, Greg. So aside from those things, but I'll now let you take the hat off and add anything you want to why you are not actually buying Michael Conforto in real life.
This man has 5 RBIs, and he's been sitting in the 5th or 6th spot in the lineup consistently, where to the point where the top 4 in the batting is getting on base. You just talked about Freddie Freeman being on base. He's either in the 3 spot or in the 4 spot. So he's on base for Michael Conforto more often than not. And this dude is grounding into double plays consistently. Ball on the ground. He's not lifting the ball. He brought in think about it this way. The Dodgers went crazy against the Marlins these last 3 games. They scored 15 runs. They scored 11 runs. They put up a ton of hits. I think they scored 34 runs in those 3 games and had probably somewhere around 40 hits. He didn't have any of them. He had 0 hits against the terrible Marlins. He hasn't had a hit in 2 weeks. This is a problem. That is like, you can give me all of your nerd stats. I'm going to tell you what I'm seeing. And I'm seeing a guy that has no confidence, cannot figure out his bat. And when he does get bat on ball, he is a ground ball and does not leave the infield. That to me is a problem. You got moved down to the A spot for that very reason. So Michael Conforto, it's time to sit. And I'm going to say something crazy to you. It's crazy. I'd rather see Chris Taylor in left field than see Michael Conforto.
Clint Pacias, I was on his show today, and he asked me, are you ready for Chris Taylor? And I was like, geez, Louise, we're here? This is where we've reached? Chris Taylor, people wanted that guy fired to the moon.
Yep. He's batting 250 with a 250 on-base percentage, but Conforto is batting like 100 and hasn't had a hit in 3 weeks.
Okay, can we calm down? You keep lying about how long. It went 2 weeks. It's 3 weeks. It's April 23rd. It was a week ago. Okay, it was Wednesday. It was 8 days ago. You said 2 weeks and then 3 weeks. It's just lies everywhere, Mr. Bergman.
He hasn't had a hit in 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, if I were going to make the case for him, I'll say 3 things. One is he was very good last year. All the nerd stats I gave you were all top third of Major League Baseball. Expected batting average, expected slug, exit velocity, barrel rate, hard hit. Top third of all of Major League Baseball a year ago. Secondly, patience. We just saw Andy Pages. People were ready to fire that guy into the sun. We took a deep breath. He kept playing, and he eventually figured it out. I think Conforto has a longer track record than Pages. You could say the same with Lux last year. And then this is the biggest reach I've ever had in one of these arguments, Greg. But in case you are wondering, for his career, he's a better second-half player than he is a first-half player, baby. Get fired up, Greg. Second-half player.
He had his hot streak at the very beginning. He got those 2 home runs and 5 RBIs in probably 3 or 4 games, and it's just gone boo. He dropped 80 points in OBP over the last week.
Yeah.
80 points. It's gone down.
You're just making up numbers, Greg. I love the passion. I love the thought here. 80. He did not drop 80 points.
He was at 380 something, and he's down to 303. What am I making up?
That was 3 weeks ago. That was April 8th.
What's the difference? Why is that wrong? 3 weeks ago, he was 380 something. He's now 303. You love OBP. I'm not even talking about his batting average. You love OBP. What is his WRC XYZ plus?
It's not great. That's what it is. I just love that it's he hasn't had it for 3 weeks, and a week ago it was 80 points higher. It's what? You're just making things up. Is that what you do on the radio, Greg? ESPN LA is just say stuff out loud and hope that it's true?
I mean, maybe. I mean, it's kind of what we do on the radio. But no, it's if it's not the exact right answer, it's still the idea is the fact is he's dropped consistently. Whatever the exact numbers are, you can look at those numbers. I can see it with my eyes. This is why we work, Jeff, because you like to look at all these crazy behind the scenes number, and I see things with my eyes. I see a guy that has no idea what he's doing at the plate right now.
The eye test says he hasn't had a hit in 3 weeks, and the eye test says that the on-base percentage has dropped 80 points in the last week. That's the eye test.
3 weeks. No, but we'll say 3 weeks.
Okay. All right. I like it. Let's go to this guy. Let me ask you this. Next on my list is Tyler Glasnow. Yeah. As low as the approval rating is for Michael Conforto, is it lower than Tyler Glasnow? Because I don't think I know a single person in my life that has stood up and said, hey, you know what? Maybe we need to go a little easy on this Glasnow fella. It's all negative. I think Glasnow might have less defenders than Conforto. Do you think that's true?
It's probably because it's now the second year that he's here, and we've seen him on the IL multiple times, and he left games 3 times in a row early, and it was all because of little teeny tiny things. His cleats were no good, and then he didn't have his calves were hurt, and then he had whole body soreness. His entire body was sore. He wasn't sick. He just whole body was sore. Yeah. Out of nowhere. Oh, I can't move. My body's sore. So yeah, I understand it.
Okay, so Glasnow, here we go. Heads, you have to argue for Glasnow. Tails, you get to, I guess, argue against him. It sounds like you want to argue against Tyler Glasnow.
Yes, prefer to argue against him, but I will go either way. I can see it.
We dropped the coin. Hold on a sec.
Come on, Jeff. This is
amateur hour. It's a big. Did I mention how big this 50-cent piece is, Greg?
Dog and pony show that we're running here. All right.
Okay. Well, I have good news for you. You get to argue against Tyler Glasnow, Would you like me to make the case for Tyler Glasnow first, and then you respond? Okay.
Sure.
I actually, this is kind of perfect because I texted you and Marcus and I said, I might zag and become pro Tyler Glasnow because nobody is pro Tyler Glasnow. And sometimes it's like, maybe I'll just go out on an island and make it a bit that I'm like a big Tyler Glasnow defender. I'm not going to do that, but here is my case for Tyler Glasnow. It's not his fault, Greg. Okay. It's not his fault that his body, he needs a hug. He needs a hug. Maybe there's not enough hugs. What's that?
Dave Robert has magical hugs.
Maybe we need a couple more of those. When he has pitched, he's good. We know that. So we've got that going for him. Here's really like I try and assume the best about people in all phases of life. If I was assuming the best about Glasnow and listening to his quotes, the Dodgers have tried. Everybody is open. They have tried to make some mechanical changes to the way he pitches with the goal being him to be able to stay healthy longer. Like, how can we change where your foot lands? Can we change just small things with where you're gripping the baseball, whatever, to try and take more pressure off of shoulder, elbow, whatever. And so it's possible that with all these mechanical changes that it is now stressing parts of his body that he's not used to them being stressed. And as a pitcher, he's sensitive to how different parts of his body feels. This is a guy who's dealt with injuries his entire career. And so maybe he's a little more susceptible to mentally feeling like, I don't want to be hurt. I don't want this. I don't want that. So maybe it's the mechanical changes. Maybe it's a mental thing and not a physical thing. And maybe, just maybe, he's going to be ready and available when we actually need him, which is September, October, and beyond. That's my case for Tyler Glasnow. How'd I do?
So did a good job. But what you're telling me is that, A, what I heard is you're saying he's mentally weak. B, I'm hearing that you're saying that mentally he's working so hard in his brain that his entire body and muscles are being sore because of how hard he's trying to change his mindset.
He's too good. I think in some ways I was saying he's actually too good. Yeah. No, he's so good that it's bad.
He's so good
that it's bad.
That he's getting hurt. And
maybe hurt. Maybe hurt, maybe not hurt. But it's because he's so good.
Sore from his hair follicles down to his toenails.
Whole body
soreness.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever had whole body
maybe soreness. He was pitching, Greg.
Unless I had the flu.
Maybe he was pitching through whole body. He was pitching with his whole body hurting, not just his elbow or his shoulder.
He's so mentally strong that his whole body is sore. That's the words that you're going with right here. Okay.
Go ahead and make the case. For the record, I didn't say he was mentally weak. No, I did not say it, but
that's what I heard. So no, Reyes Iris, he is not saying he's mentally weak.
Yeah.
Relax.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I am some guy on a YouTube show, to be clear. Not denying the second half of your question. I am just some guy on a YouTube show who did not play Major League Baseball, in case you were wondering. But what's the case against the Glass Man?
So the Glass Man is having major problems, even when he is pitching well. I love the fact that he attacks the plate. That's great. However, if you have to be able to say he is someone that you rely on this in this pitching staff. When we looked at the pitching staff at the beginning of the year, and we looked at Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Roki Sasaki, Dustin May, eventually Tyler Gonsolin. It was supposed to look amazing. And he was supposed to be at the head of all that, the one guy that really attacked the zone. What he was doing he was giving up home runs. He was giving up runs in those outings still, no matter what. He's not giving great outings. He's not going 7 innings. He's leaving early. And mentally, everything is not perfect with him, he can't pitch. There's a few guys that are like that. If he doesn't fight through problems. Another one of the guys that I feel like is Max Scherzer. If his arm was tired, if Max Scherzer, no, it's the World Series. My arm is a little bit tired. I can't pitch today. I'm sorry. I know I didn't tell you until the night before, but not pitching tomorrow. Like, there's some guys that just mentally can't get through those things. And then you have dogs like Walker Buehler. I know he's hurt right now. Yeah. And I know I asked for him to be DFA'd at one point last year, but he goes out there and says, I'm going to pitch no matter what. I'm going to go out there and get these guys out. Clayton Kershaw is going through as much as he can possibly go through after surgery so he can get back up here and get his 37 strikeouts. Tyler Glasnow is not that guy that is going to pitch through absolutely anything. A lot of people say that baseball players are the weakest players because if their toenail is hurt or their fingernail is broken, they're going to go sit. That's Tyler Glasnow. And I think that's who we have. And we've seen this for a couple of years now. So this is the second year where we've seen like, not everything's right. I got to go go on the IL. Honestly, go on the IL, take all the time you need, make sure your body is not sore. And then when you come back, pitch and be ready for the postseason. That's what I need from him.
I like it. The optics are bad. The rain thing, the cramps thing, all the injuries. Tommy John in 21, oblique and back injuries in 23, hamstring, back, and elbow injuries in 24. If you read between the lines and want to maybe impose some of your own ideas on the quotes and the press conferences from Dave Roberts, I would say it has not been great when he's talking about Tyler Glasnow. Again, Dave hasn't said anything that is overtly negative towards Glasnow, but I think it seems like there's room for interpretation. So, okay, last one here. Let's go to Max Muncy. This is an interesting one because yesterday, who knows? The entire narrative might be changed. So heads, you have to argue for Muncy. Tails, you have to argue against Muncy. I'll ask you one more time. Which do you want here, Greg?
So I've been pretty wait and see on Muncy. So okay. I'll go pro. If whatever it happens to be, but I would prefer pro.
Okay.
No. Did you lose it again?
I smacked my hand on the desk. There's going to be a video made. People are going to make fun of me here.
That's twice in 3 spins.
We're having a rough one over here, Greg. Okay. It's a big, did I mention how big the coin is? It's a massive coin. Right, okay. You've got heads.
In the air.
I know. We're going quarter next time. It's heads. So you get to argue for Max Muncy. The floor is yours.
Okay, so Max Muncy, I honestly feel like has been getting closer and closer and closer to turning things around. And I really feel that home run is something that is going to change everything for him because he has been better at the plate. I know he had that 0 for 16 stretch, but he was getting hits and he got 2 hits the night before he hit the home run. So he was starting to turn himself around. And there was multiple times where he didn't get some of the hits where he had balls that dropped just shy of going over the wall or just go foul on the down right field line. He was getting closer and closer. His eye is getting better. He's walking a little bit more. I think Muncy is somebody that if you're going to let somebody turn it around, it's this kind of guy. He's going to do just fine. And if we turn around by the end of the year and he has 20 to 30 home runs, I would not be surprised at all. He's a guy that once he starts hitting, he hits a lot. He gets hot and he's going to go off. So I really feel like, and especially if he starts hitting, this lineup gets longer and longer and longer. So honestly, Muncy is going to turn around, and you should. If there's a guy to have patience with, it's Max Muncy.
Let me ask you this. I asked Clint a similar question, not comparing it to Muncy. Tommy Edman has 8 home runs. Max Muncy has 1. Who finishes 2025 with more home runs?
So I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with Edman because I think he might have found a little bit of a power stroke, but I would not be surprised if it was the other way around.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would probably say Edman. It's realistically like how many do you think Edman gets to? If Edman gets to like 22, 23, that's probably more than Muncy's going to get to is my guess. But I don't know. If Muncy gets hot, I'll make the case against Max Muncy. He's 34 and a half years old. He just finished the longest home run drought of his career by almost double. His prior record was 80 plate appearances without a home run in the regular season. He was at like 151 by the time he finally got one in this one. He hadn't really been unlucky. His expected home runs, according to Baseball Savant, was like 0.8. So it's not like he was just hitting it to the deepest part of the park in big stadiums all the time. He bounced back last year. Here's the part that worries me, and I'm pro Max Muncy, but I'm making the case against him.
Yeah.
Max Muncy's peak was probably 2018 to 2021. And it's 2025 now. He was really good. Nice bounce back in 2024. Legit. Like the underlying stuff is there. But 22 and 23 were good, not great. 24 was great. 25. So if you wanted to tell me that the cliff was coming, I could see how you get there. Now, I tend to, if we're taking the hats off now, I'm pro him. I think the hard hit rate, I've talked about this, the hard hit rate and barrel rate are better than they were last year. He just needs to improve his strikeout rate, which is like way higher than his career numbers. If that just comes back down to normal and he keeps making the contact he is, I think he's going to be fine. Glad to see him get the home run. The triple was lucky, but this guy needed a break. I'm glad he got it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad he got it too, because then hopefully that's something that really sets him going forward. And by the way, yeah, I see it in the chat, and you're 100% right. I think maybe you said it. That triple, it was a Sun triple. That was something that it dropped. It should have been out if it was anybody else, but it dropped. It landed. He got to third. That he got the triple, but probably if at best it should have been a single.
Yeah. Hey, we'll take it. We'll take it. The guy needs a break. The guy needs a break. 100%. 100%. Let's rapid fire through some news and notes. We're going to be done right around the hour mark in about 15 minutes. So we'll fire through some of these so we can get to some questions. Let's talk Kershaw real quick. Third rehab start completed, finished a full 5 innings, 66 pitches. He actually faced the minimum through 4 innings, gave up a pair of home runs, 3 runs in the 5th, finished 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. Also got to throw to Dalton Rushing. Said it was the first time ever, bullpen, spring training, anything, that he ever pitched to Dalton Rushing, which was a positive. Might be a pairing for the future. Remains to be seen. Not that Kershaw is going to be around forever, but maybe next year. You know, some of us that are still holding on to our Clayton Kershaw stuff can hope, but he can't come back, Greg, for another almost 16 or 17 days. But the fact that he's through 5 innings, faced the minimum through 4 at AAA, it's positive signs.
Those are positive signs. I mean, when he comes up, that's just another guy that is going into your rotation. And I think that's a good thing to have. I mean, he needs 37 strikeouts to get to 3,000. Like you're gonna let this guy get to that point. And by the way, you're trying to get rid of Austin Barnes so badly. He had 3 hits the other day, Jeff. He's getting
talk about those 3 hits.
No, they were very small hits, but either way, he had 3 hits no matter what. So, but back to Kershaw. He's here for the regular season. Get those 37 strikeouts. Do whatever he can in those throughout the season. We've talked about it a lot. You don't agree with me because you're insanely high on Kershaw being in the postseason. If he's pitching in the postseason, it's all gone terribly wrong.
It's all gone great. That you keep saying it wrong, Greg. It's the same line. You say it wrong every time. Everything has gone amazing if Kershaw's pitching in the postseason.
No, that's the wrong thing. That's
2.5 ERA. Strikeout per inning. Guy's just going to be dealing, Greg. Just get ready for it.
I hope so. Oilers 3, Kings 2 at the end of the first. Oh, jeez, man. They're down. Give up 3 in the first. That's the worst thing you could have done. At least they're down only 1. Okay.
They scored 2. That seems good.
That's a good portion of it.
Okay. One other thing I want to talk about. We talked about the 2 new relievers. Let's talk Yamamoto and Sasaki. So basically, we know the Dodgers have talked about having a 6-man rotation. Yamamoto and Sasaki have been on a 7-man rotation schedule because the Dodgers didn't play a single Thursday game in the month of April. So Yamamoto has pitched every Friday. Sasaki has pitched every Saturday. But bad news for those guys because now the Dodgers play 10 games in 10 days. And the question is, are the Dodgers going to start moving them up, going to a true 6-man rotation with 5 days off in between? Dave was asked about it. He said this, quote, "That's a conversation as well. We did it with Yamamoto last year right around this time. It's another thought as far as given the amount of games we have in a row to have them less rest in between starts." He also mentioned Kasperius is going to likely get built up to be a starting pitching option and said that at least one probably bullpen game over the next 10 days. From your perspective, Yamamoto and Sasaki, is it time to move these guys to 5 days off in between and do a real, once every 6 days rotation?
So there's 2 ways to think about it, I feel like. This happened last year, like you said, that they went to Yamamoto on 5 days or on 4 days rest like normal people last year, and he went on the IL, right, or pretty close to this time as well. So do you want that to happen? But he ended up coming back in perfect time so that he was healthy and great in October. So there's that. There's also the portion of that, the fact that everybody's going to go on the IL on this pitching staff at some point to be ready for October. The regular season, as much as it matters, doesn't matter as much to them, I feel like. So I don't like it because just let them keep doing it and especially not for Sasaki, who's 23 years old, and you're not trying to get him hurt right now. Those guys have in Japan, they went on those every 6 day. Yeah, that was the way they went, and I think you just keep it that way. You have enough guys. You have Glasnow and May, and you can Ben Kasperius.
Glasnow's hurt. You mean Gonsolin?
I keep saying Gonsolin. Yeah,
They don't have enough guys, Greg. They have 4 healthy starting pitchers right now.
Yeah, but you can go with it, and now you're bringing up Kasperius, who actually can pitch, who's been very good in those 4 innings when he goes there, so that you can get through it. I don't think those starts that you're going to be adding into them will make that much of a difference, especially with the way that they're going to be. Right now, the tie for the best record in baseball. They're probably going to be that around there for the most of the season. If you lose a game or two on a bullpen day every once in a while, I'm kind of okay with that. I'd rather have those two healthy in October than pitching above their skis now in April, May, June. I don't have
Here's the one thing you missed, though. I'm going to the Thursday, Friday games in Arizona, and if they go to 6-man rotation, I get Yamamoto and Sasaki on Thursday and Friday. So that's the headline, Greg.
Right. Oh, it's just for you. You're being selfish and thinking of yourself.
I'm flying all the way to Arizona to see this team play, Greg. They owe me.
Who would you be seeing if it wasn't that way? Would it be like
I believe I'm going to see Sasaki either way.
Okay.
I would see Yamamoto either way. Because if Yamamoto just stays the Friday pitcher, then I would see Yamamoto on Friday. And I mean, who knows? I mean, Dustin May's pitching Sunday. So if he's on a 5-day rotation, they could theoretically just screw it all up and have Dustin May. No, because that would be Thursday. So, it'd be, who knows? Matt Sauer, maybe. I mean, Landon Knack
was fine. It could be Knack. It could be Ben Kasparius. I mean, it's not who you honestly want to see, but it's probably going to be fine. You see Roki.
Yeah. I mean, I'll see Yamamoto either way. That's the good news. To me, yes, like let's go to the 6. They talked about doing a 6-man rotation. They've been doing a 7. Going to 6 is the norm. They're already 6-man is still an extra day of rest than any ever major league pitcher is doing. Yamamoto was healthy. They do a 6-man rotation in Japan. I understand all the nonsense. If they had 6 healthy starting pitchers and it was like, oh, we're just going to build up Kasparius to throw the 7th day, sure. They got 4 dudes right now. And Kasparius, everybody loves Kasparius. The most innings he's thrown is 4. So, like, yes, he would technically be a starter, but it's basically a bullpen game where, like, best case scenario, you're getting maybe a little more than 4 innings out of him. I know Matt Sauer looked good. I don't trust him. Landon Knack, I looked bad. I do trust him. So they had some options, but with 4 starting pitchers to stick with a 7-man rotation over the next 10 days seems crazy to me.
Oh, no. I mean, if it was a 7-man rotation, that was 6-man is where it needs to be. I know they've been doing the 7, but it's 6-man as well. I don't want the 5-man rotation. I don't want them to go away.
So what they would be doing is they've been running a 6-man rotation with an off day. So Yamamoto has been pitching every 7 days, Sasaki every 7 days. The talk is, do they start pitching every 6 days over this stretch? That's the question.
Yeah, they can do the 6 days. They can do the 6-man rotation. The way that they were saying it in, who was it? Was it Eric Karros? That they had the a high school rotation where you pitch the day that you pitch. Yeah. I mean, it was great for a while, but no, you can go to the 6-man rotation. That's fine.
Yeah. They just had no Thursday game. So, All right, let's get to some questions. We got 7 or 8 minutes left. Again, that is Greg Bergman of ESPN LA, host of the Blue Review, 8:30 a.m. on the ESPN LA YouTube page, Monday through Friday. I am on with him every Friday morning. I will be back on tomorrow. Marcus Grant is in the mix. Parker Bell is in the mix as well. They've got guests throughout the week as well. So if you aren't checking Greg's stuff out, make sure you do. But let's get to some questions here. Dodgers Hub asking, do you think Muncy has a hot road trip following the home run? Also, how concerned are you guys with Kopech being moved to the 60-day? I'll answer the second one first and let you go, Muncy. No concern at all with Kopech. The 60-day IL is all retroactive. Kershaw's on the 60-day. He can come back in 2.5 weeks. Kopech was not going to come back in the next 2.5 weeks anyway. So I don't think anything has changed with Kopech. Treinen's is more concerning because it's 60 days from like a week and a half ago, but Kopech not concerned. What do you think about the first part? Do you think Muncy, even if we're pro Muncy, do you think the hot stretch starts now, or do you think it's going to be a slow build?
I hope it is. I don't know if it's going to be he goes, wow, okay, all of a sudden you're going 4 for 5 every single night. No, I don't think it's that. But I think he's going to start getting hits. It may not be a hit every single night, but he's going to start getting hits. He may have a home run or 2 in there. He's going to start looking kind of like what Max Muncy normally looks like. He's going to have a couple of walks, get a couple of doubles, have a home run here or there. But really, he's going to see Atlanta. I think he can hit Atlanta a little bit, and then he goes back to see the Marlins again. So if you're going to see the Marlins again, he's going to hit them, I would hope. So I really do feel like it's going to be the start of something good. I wouldn't say hot road trip where he's going just on fire, but I do think he starts to look kind of like the old Max Muncy a little bit.
I like it. I'm hopeful. That we get there. Richard, by the way, sorry we missed the super chat. Glasnow looked like a total wuss on that wet mound. Absolutely no guts. waiting for him to go on the IL with dandruff, Jeff hates cheese, and Tommy tanks. So, Richard, we appreciate this guy. This guy popped in on Clint's show too and left a super chat on Clint's show just to tell Clint how much I hated cheese and Tommy Edmonds. So, Richard, I love you. I appreciate you, brother. Hopefully someday we get a chance to meet.
I got your back on the cheese is not necessary part in a burrito.
I like it. Clint had my back too. So we're stacking up wins as far as I'm concerned. Says, call me biased, but why is Yamamoto not getting the recognition he deserves from MLB media? Why does everyone pick anyone but Yamamoto for Cy Young? He is clearly ahead, 1.5 runs ahead of everybody else. What do you think, Greg? Why isn't Yamamoto getting more love?
I think he's getting plenty of love. I see a lot of people. But the guy, again, we talked about it before. You were talking about Joel Reuter before. I'm going to talk about Jeff Passan. Jeff Passan looks at Yamamoto and says, this guy is legitimately good. If there's a guy on this team, which we've been saying all year long before the season started, if there's somebody that's going to get the Cy Young on this team, it's going to be Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And I think he gets plenty of love. If we don't see it all the time, people don't tend not to think that. And he also, he just went head to head with Paul Skeens and Skeens won. So At that point, you kind of got to lean that way, right?
Yeah, I was going to say it's the hard part is he went against his biggest competition and got outpitched. The fact that Yamamoto's pitching once every 7 days also hurts his case. Skeens is basically getting 50% more starts than Yamamoto. So counting stats are going to end up hurting Yamamoto, but we all know where Greg and I stand on Yamamoto. Tim wants to know, with all the injuries, why not start Ohtani's ramp up sooner rather than later? This one's an easy one, right? The Ohtani, you're playing the long game. They need starters now, yes, but who cares if Ohtani is back before July, as long as he's back and healthy and available at some point.
Yeah, look, we want Ohtani to pitch, love Ohtani to pitch. When Ohtani's ready to pitch and the team feels that he is ready to pitch, he will do that. I don't need him any sooner than when he's ready to go. Look, we want him healthy. It's always healthy for the postseason, not the regular season. And May 1st is not the time to ramp up.
Derek wants to know, are the Dodgers going to make a run at Alcantara at the deadline?
I guess it's possible, especially if Snell and Glasnow stay on the IL for a long time. I wouldn't be surprised if they go after a pitcher, especially with what's going on there. But the whole idea was to not go after a pitcher. You get all these guys, so you don't have to go after a pitcher. It's possible, but I think Alcantara has been terrible. Now, he can turn it around because he's an amazing pitcher, but he has been just god-awful so far this season. So I don't know if that's the guy they're going to go after right now. And also, he's the only one that makes any amount of money on that team. They need to keep it up to keep the competitive balance up.
He's 29 also, so he's not like Yuri Perez where he's like 22. He'd have to be pitching a lot better, I think, for the Dodgers to be interested. Chase the Lux. Are we in on real sour hours? If they're stretching out Kasperius, they kind of need the long guy for bullpen days. Are you in on Matt Sauer?
Look, bullpens are suspect all the time. You never know what you're really going to get out of a bullpen. So as long as Matt Sauer is pitching well, sure, put him out there and keep going. When he starts going off, boop, push him back down. I only care about the guys that we already have that are going to be important down the line. So use Matt Sauer up as much as you possibly can, and then when he falls apart, spit him out. That's what they do with a lot of these pitchers.
There we go. Okay, last question here. This is from Jeff Spiegel. What does Greg Bergman think of the Raiders draft class?
I loved the Raiders draft class. I thought it was fantastic. To the point, Jeff, I was so excited about it. I read your article on the Raiders draft class, talking about all the different guys. So
how'd I do?
I love it. Huh?
How'd I do?
I thought you did really well. I enjoyed the article. I might still have it up because I was going to talk about it on the radio. But no, I thought you did great. I love what they did. I think they had, obviously, Ashton Genty is a great pick. They got a couple of wide receivers that I think some may be good. Some are kind of projects, but I think those are going to help, especially alongside Brock Bowers. They got a couple of offensive linemen. A couple of quarterbacks to go in the back. The second quarterback's more of like he's going to be what's it called? His what?
He'll probably a receiver, kick returner guy.
Yeah, he's going to be. He might play a little bit in the what's it called? The
Wildcat.
Wildcat. Thank you. Yeah, he's going to play a little bit in the Wildcat. But I love what the Raiders did. I think they're going to be. If I looked at I went through the future opponents already and where they're going to play home and away. I talked myself into 10 wins. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, let's go.
I talked myself into 10 wins.
Look, I know there's Rams fans in the chat. Look, it's just like the draft is the only day of the year that Raider fans get to be happy. Okay, so like Greg and I have this moment. Exactly. Were you mad? Were you mad they kept passing on Shedeur? At some point, were you hoping they picked him?
No, I didn't. I was not mad that they kept passing on him. There was a reason that he dropped all the way to the 5th round, and mostly it's how he was talking to guys. And if you're going to have somebody, you're not going to have a problem with Pete Carroll. Like Pete Carroll can't be that guy you have the problem with, so that would be the wrong person to bring in.
I like Shedeur. I think he's going to be good, but bizarre, but crazy story. So there we go, folks.
Can I ask you a good question?
Yeah, go ahead, hit me.
So I think we've talked about this before, but this is now on chats. But I want to hear what the chat has to say. And yes, by the way, Iris, I do eat kimchi. It's delicious. Do you prefer a regular Snickers or an ice cream Snickers?
I'm with you. Ice cream Snickers. I think ice cream and Snickers ingredients in any form. Snickers ice cream, Snickers like Blizzard, Snickers ice cream bar. I'm in on all of it. I think it's fantastic. I think Snickers are good. I think Snickers ice cream things are 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Snickers ice cream bar is one of the best ice cream bars that are out there and far and away better than a regular Snickers. The Snickers are good. I like Snickers, but a frozen ice cream Snickers, there's nothing. Just one bite in, you're like, oh, that's good. That's just tasty.
You just head down to 7-Eleven and grab a couple, or what are we doing? Like, is that just in the routine?
Just go across the street, and I definitely have a box in my freezer right now.
Good for you. Yeah. Good for you. Well, everybody, thank you. Sorry I got to cut it short tonight. I appreciate everybody for joining us. Again, that is Greg Bergman, ESPN LA YouTube page, 8:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. You can, if you want more of me and Greg, if you haven't had your fill, check us out tomorrow morning. Greg, anything else you guys want to plug?
Just the Blue Review every day, 8:30 to 8:55 on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. Be there and just hang out, talk in the chat. We will try to do our best, especially on Fridays, to talk with the chat. So if you want more Dodgers talk, just first thing in the morning, 8:30 a.m. to 8:55, ESPN LA YouTube channel.
Also on Mason in Ireland, right?
Let's we can talk about that another time.
Okay. That is Greg Bergman.
Yes, but no.
What's that?
Yes, but no.
Okay. Well, everybody, we appreciate you joining us. Enjoy your night. We'll be back Sunday night, myself and Anthony Witrato as well. So, as always, this has been Dodger Heads presented by DodgerBlue.com. Go Dodgers, and yes, still champs.